I build the best house? It's impossible to answer that. Welcome to the Yanagida Podcast show, episode 37. I'm with my guest and the guy behind the scenes, Dodie Madriaga.
What's up?
Dang, Dodie, welcome back.
It's good to see you guys again.
Oh man,
All the time.
setup was good today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You set up.
I trust you, man. I trust you.
Nah, no worries about them, bro. All right, so today we're gonna start off with like asking Justin questions about his book, Fighting Sickness with Fitness. So the first one that I've kind of got for myself is, I hear the term volume and intensity thrown around a lot when it comes to exercising. I kind of get the gist of it, but could you give me like a explanation of each, and also could you like explain the benefits of each, doing one more than the other?
Okay, so the difference between volume and intensity, it's not that they're so much different as they contrast with each other. So if you're going heavy or you're going fast, you're throwing something really quickly, you're jumping explosively, or you're lifting really heavy, that's considered more of an intensity aspect. Volume is more so how many reps, how much time under tension, which basically means, are you doing the exercise, your muscles under tension for 60 seconds, 30 seconds, 45 seconds? Whereas something as max effort, you might only do like a 3-rep max, like a heavy weight for 3 reps, or a short 40-yard sprint. So how long was that? Typically anywhere from 4 to 6 seconds, right? So that's considered something that's higher intensity versus volume. Volume is more, okay, I'm going to run 2 miles. I'm going to get the distance, get the mileage, add up the volume. Versus intensity is 40 yards, 100 meters, 200 meters, very fast as you can.
Right.
Or maybe not as fast as you can. You can alternate. But it's much shorter than the time versus the long distance miles. So what was the second part, the intensity?
So like, what are the benefits of like doing each, like going for high intensity or high volume? And I heard like from like famous people, like you can do one or the other, but usually it's really hard to do both, you know what I mean?
Right. And so that's the analogy that you probably hear from other trainers and fit pros. They're talking about it's hard to be a marathon runner and it's hard to be a short distance sprinter at a high level. So it's much more difficult if you are trying to be a high level marathon and high level sprinter. If you're okay with being moderate at both, that's totally doable. It really depends on your goal. So let's just say if your goal is just to become healthy and increase mobility, increase your functional movements, all that good stuff, then I don't see any problem with doing both. Doing some distance and then mixing some sprints and high intensity, maybe some kettlebells, dumbbells, free weights, stuff like that, while adding some maybe distance cardio such as walking, jogging, swimming, all these different things. If you're specializing in one thing, I mean, unless you're like a high level collegiate or Olympic athlete, I wouldn't say worry about that too much. Don't need to worry about that too much. So, did that answer the question, Dodie? I'm just trying to think in terms of the benefit. It really depends on your goals. If you want to be able to jump farther, then you probably have to practice more jump training and actually do some resistance training. If you want to run longer, if you want to be someone that can run for 6 miles, then you're probably going to have to focus more on running, which is probably going to make you not as explosive.
Right.
And so as long as you're okay with that, it depends on the person's goals. That's what I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. What are your goals, man?
Like for me, like I just want to get stronger in general. Like I'm not usually going for like some 2 times my body weight type of bench, but I want to be able to like at least do my body weight and some more, you know what I mean? And I don't want to be that guy who's like who can do like choke reps, but then when it comes to actual like lifting hard, it's like no, cannot. So just more for power, more strength, and building muscle to look good is, not gonna lie, that's a goal for all of us, but it's not like the main thing.
That sounds good. No, that's actually a good goal, especially because that was the similar goal I had when I was 17, right? 17, yeah. Yeah, because I started lifting weights 16 and 17, and the same goal. I was just like, oh man, I just want to build some muscle a little bit. I think I was like 140 pounds, something like that. And yeah, good goal. So I would say, yeah, lifting weights, higher intensity stuff, mix with some volume stuff. Because you're like what you're saying, it doesn't hurt to do cardio as well, because you want to still stay healthy, and as long as you're getting your calories, that's the main thing.
All
Get
right.
the calories, get your food in.
All right.
Chicken adobo.
Of course.
Yeah.
So that basically wraps up like the first question I got. The second one I kind of have is, before you described to me certain workout splits, like the push-pull legs, you know, doing all push on one day, pull, and then legs on the other. And you also told me about the German volume training, where you just do straight up tons of volume. You just do 10 sets of 10 of certain exercises, you know, like lifting. What are other effective workout splits that you can recommend to me? Or just people in general?
Well, I would say there are limitless programs, split routines, variations. Everything from Mad Cow to starting strength with Mark Ripito to Jim Wendler 531 to the conjugate training of the West Side Barbell to German volume training to, I mean, there's so many different ways. Push pull legs, the typical bro split, chest day, back day, leg day. You know, and even in the push pull legs, you can go deeper. You can do Monday, Wednesday, Friday push pull legs, or you can do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You know, just it really depends on how much, number one, time you want to put in the gym, and number two, your goals, and number three, how much you want to put into it. So for the majority of people, typically 3 to 4 days a week works pretty good. So that's where a lot of people will go into maybe a full body workout, right? Well, they'll just hit the whole body. That's why in our circuit training or anything like that, you'll typically see some sort of leg movements, upper body push, pull, hip hinge, some swings, deadlift, etc. Maybe some core work, stabilization, maybe some rear delt, some shoulder, postural stuff. And you got a good workout in 30, 45 minutes. It just depends on your goals. So as your goals start to change, the workouts, I mean, it's so great. It's almost like asking, how do I build the best house? It's impossible to answer that, because the best house for one person is different from another person. And I see different exercises, different split routines, different modifications, different variations of the whole thing as tools. I see it as a hammer. I see this one as a screwdriver. I see this one as, you know, leveling, all this different stuff, concrete, sand, all that. And so really, Dodie, realistically, how many days a week are you willing to work out? Or do you want to work out?
Personally, I'd be willing to come 6 days a week.
Okay. So if you're doing six days a week, and how do you feel about getting your calories in? You getting your calories in?
Yeah, definitely getting my calories.
Okay, so in that case, if your goal is to, one more time, your goal was to
build strength, put on muscle.
Build strength, put on muscle. And then you said a little bit about like the athleticism stuff?
Yeah, hypertrophy and like that. A little bit of that.
Okay, so cardio too, or not too much?
Some cardio like biking, but not too much running.
Okay. So in that case, you could either do a 4-day upper lower, right? And then a couple days for core and cardio stuff, just so you can do your heart stuff, get you know, all that stuff. Or we could even get you into a push-pull legs back to back 6 days a week. Yeah. So for instance, that might look like push Monday would be your chest, shoulder, triceps. Your bench press, your dips, push-ups, lateral raises, triceps, skull crushers, all that good stuff. Military press. Tuesday's back or pull day, which would be your back and biceps. You would do your chin-ups, your pull-ups, your T-bar rows, your barbell rows, and some biceps. Wednesday would be your leg day. And since you're doing the push-pull legs 2 times, this leg day could be more of like a squat emphasis leg day. So some sort of barbell squat variation, whether front, back, Bulgarian, whatever type of squat. Then some sort of hip hinge movement, hip thrusts, deadlifts, etc. And then some core work if you want to do that. And then just repeat Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But just change up the exercises, change up the volume, change up the everything. And we can talk about that after the podcast. So I guess that's pretty exciting, especially you get a lot of testosterone. 17 years old, and what do you weigh right now?
147. Oh wait, yeah, 147.
147. Okay. Yeah, I can totally see. Cause how tall are you?
Only 5'6".
Okay.
5'6".
Yeah, man, you can probably get to a pretty good like 165, a solid 170.
Yeah.
So pretty good. You fill out. That's actually really good. So yeah, we'll talk about it after the podcast.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's a good one.
Yeah, answers my question.
Yeah.
The next one that I got was let me find it. So like in the book, you mentioned macros a bit, like protein, carbs, and fat. And I was wondering if like, what are your thoughts on like macro ratios? Like, you mentioned like 30% at least of your calories should be fats, right? So like, what are your thoughts on like carbs, like high carb diets, and then like low carb, and then like high protein and low protein? Like how does that really change things?
Well, I'm a fan of all different types of eating styles, just like weightlifting, right? Just like weight training. I love the kettlebells. I love dumbbells. I love barbell training, Olympic lifting, power, all this different types of training. I love it all. Same with nutrition. Because there is going to be a certain eating protocol that works better for this person. Like person A might do wonderful with a low carb, high fat, moderate protein, ketogenic type diet. Person B, that might not work at all. Person B might be, I don't know, some sort of like paleo type diet might work better. Eating more fruits, nuts, seeds, lean meat, stuff like that. Person C, something completely different. So the guidelines that I've been taught has just been bare basic guidelines. So your fat content, you want to keep it at least 20% of your total calories. Just for proper hormone function and all that good stuff. Your protein, you want anywhere from about 0.6 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. But the 1 gram per pound of body weight, that's really high unless you are lean and you're in a calorie deficit. If you're gaining muscle or just maintaining, 0.8 grams per pound of body weight, you're good to go. So in simple terms, if somebody weighs 100 pounds, that person would need about anywhere from 60 to 100 grams of protein. But that's the extreme. There's 60 to 100. Most likely somewhere around 70 to 80 would be more than enough. And then the carbs would just fill in the rest. Yeah. Some people operate better higher fat. So instead of 20%, it could be 30%, 40% fats. Some people are better at 20 because they rather have the higher carbs. So they rather have the starch, more fruits, and etc. So that also depends person to person. Because I've had people that go upwards of 60% of their calories in carbs because they're high-level college athletes, right? For instance, they're 60% carbs, 20% fat, 20% protein. And for this individual, it hit just that area of 0.8 grams per pound of body weight for protein, 20% fat, and the rest was carbs, 60% carbs. Jeez. So they were having fun, right? Because their goal wasn't to lose weight. They were just wanting to maintain their maintain their weight, but increase their performance. And especially for anaerobic high intensity, you got to have carbs. I mean, you can totally do it without carb, intermittent fasting. I talk about that as well. But there's so much research that shows that if you have carbohydrates, you just operate and can perform much better than if you are just carb deprived. Now, there's some studies, I know some people are going to look at it, about ultra high fat diets and marathon running and all that. But there's a study for everything, right? There's literally a study that contradicts everything. And that's the thing. You got to look at the sample size. Does it work for this individual? Just because the carnivore diet works for one individual and after 8 weeks that this person has great blood markers eating only meat, that doesn't mean that everybody should do it, right? Just because, or same with like any diet, Dr. Atkins diet of keto, any type of ketogenic diet or whatever, if it works for you and this individual, do it, right? And so that's why I prefer to, just like what I've been taught, is Go over more recommendations and work with the individual first, and then let them dictate what they want to eat and all this. Because and it doesn't matter if, to me, it doesn't matter if you cannot sustain your eating style and your workout style. Now, things can change a little bit. But if you can't sustain it for, I don't know, if you have a hard time sustaining it for 6 weeks, let alone 6 months or even 6 years, that's the goal. That is the goal, to be able to change your lifestyle, right? Because not think in terms of like a short diet, but think of it in terms of a lifestyle change, right? And we can call it whatever we want: nutrition, lifestyle, diet, etc. But the main goal, the main outcome, is to make that into a lifestyle, permanent change. Into, just like with brushing your teeth, you don't want to just go through 6 weeks of brushing your teeth and then not take care of your dental health. You absolutely don't want to do that, right? Dental health is important. Physical health is important. Mental health is important. And so I don't see them in terms of like seasons, because if you stop brushing your teeth and taking care of your dental health, what happens? When you go get, and let alone a car, right? People take in your car every check-in, I don't know, every 6 months or so. What happens when you don't service your car for 4 years, right? That automobile, that car has a lot of problems. But for some reason, we do it to our body more than anything else, right? So that's what I want to emphasize, is that it's a lifestyle change. Lifestyle, right? Because I've done also a bunch of stuff too: keto, paleo, plants, vegetarian, pescatarian. I've done these for about 2 months periods, and it was very difficult to do it for even 8 weeks for myself, because it wasn't a lifestyle fix. So
what's paleo?
Paleo is basically, you don't eat anything that is man-made. You're basically just eating if it's grown from the earth and raised from the earth, right? So you're eating animals, seafood, fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, etc. So no bread and stuff like that on there too. Depending on what type of paleo, you're not eating grains too. So it just depends. I mean, for some people, that works wonderful. I know I have friends that paleo works for them since they were in college, right? Because they're not much of a bread eater to begin with or whatever, and their lifestyle just fits perfect. Now, some people, they're pescatarian, and it works perfect for them, right? Some people, and there's so much for everything. So I would say just find what works for you and just kind of stay within a guideline and go from there. Experiment what foods that you like and feel good with, without going too crazy and saying blood tests and do this and without doing all that. Just go off of foods that you feel good. If after you eat a cheeseburger you don't feel too good, you feel sleepy, don't eat that, right? I mean, if you feel sleepy after you eat whatever, maybe there might be something going on in your gut. Without even taking a blood test, you might have some sort of mild reaction, right? But without going too crazy, just go off the whole feel.
All right. Just personal preference, okay.
Yeah, just figure it out.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
My next question is like this: what are your thoughts on cheat meals? Because in like the book I saw, maybe every now and then, to sustain yourself and not go crazy, just give yourself maybe a cheat meal. And I know it said like, that doesn't mean you just go eating all you want, everything, like you get rid of your calories. Like, what are your thoughts on cheat meals in general? Because I feel like, personally, cheat meals could kind of ruin the whole diet,
Yeah, it can totally ruin the whole thing if you're not careful. Because what starts off as a cheat meal can become cheat double meals, which becomes a cheat day, which can also become, you know what, I ate junk yesterday, what's another day gonna do? Boom. Another day. 1 week goes by. 1 month goes by. Eating Pop-Tarts and cereal for breakfast isn't that bad, right? We start justifying and rationing. So we just got to be careful that we don't take it too extreme. And what honestly works for a bunch of people, this might be different for everybody, but set a designated day/time of the day that you want to do that, and set it in accordance with like social settings for you. So for instance, I have clients who like to do it at Sunday brunch. Like after church, they go to Tasty Crust, eat some pancakes and whatever they want. Just that one meal, and that's it. And then after that, they're normal. They're good. They got the cravings done. Some people, it's Friday nights, right? They might just finish work, and okay, I'm gonna enjoy a nice steak with an extra boom and an extra of this, and that's good. Some people, it's Saturday night, Saturday morning, but the main thing is set it in according to your social life, because that's the best way to sustain it long term. Because if you set it where it's like, if you have a family dinner or a family get together every Sunday with your family, and you keep depriving yourself every Sunday, it's not going to last forever, right? So you might as well just put it in that day, and then just remember to jump back on track the rest of the meals, right? But it's also a good mental break too, because I know some people who go super hardcore, maybe even like 12 weeks straight without any slip-ups, just straight 12 weeks super eating, healthy, no sugar, nothing fried, nothing processed. And that's also can be a slippery slope, because once you introduce a Pop-Tart to them again, I've seen some people who just fall off the wagon and just go the dark side. They just go the dark side. But then also, that's why it's important to have a team or a coach or a system or a group of people that look out for each other, right? If you work out at a gym, or you have a trainer, or you have a group of friends that you work out with, that's usually the best case scenario, because it's like, hey man, I haven't seen you at the gym recently. Is everything okay? Or, people will hold you accountable a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a really big benefit. So I think I went off on tangents there, Dodes, but I think that's probably the answer. Everything I just said.
Yeah, no worries. Because a lot of times I see people online, it's like they have a cheat meal and then like, another cheat meal, like, and the next day I'm like, whoa, slow it down, You don't want to turn that cheat meal into a 6-month bulk,
Right.
It's
exactly.
Like, yeah, that basically answers the question. And the next one is kind of related to cheat meals in a sense. Is, let's say you're going to a outing, right? You're going to an event, and guaranteed or high likelihood that there's going to be food, and not just regular foods, but just kind of more on the unhealthy side, and alcohol for those that are over 18 or 21. I'm sorry. How would you say would you prepare for this? Would you just straight up just not eat? Would you eat less calories like days prior, or would you just straight up just go blaze and eat?
So give me an example. Like what's the situation? Is it like a wedding or a birthday party, or what is this?
Yeah, let's go with the extreme case. Let's say it is a wedding. Like, how would you plan for that? Something like so grand,
Okay. So I'll give you my personal opinion and what I would recommend for most. So for me, what I would personally do is, because I like to talk to people, I like to socialize, I like to use that opportunity, if it's a wedding, to reconnect with the people there. What's the best time to do that? When people are eating, right? Because nobody's if you're eating, you can't talk, because you're trying to chew and do all that. So I was taught, who was this? Jim Rohn. He was taught by his mother, who's a personal development speaker who passed away. Never go hungry to an event, because you can always eat before and after, right? Because the main thing is building relationships, building connections, getting to know people, reconnecting with people. That's a lot of time, energy, and effort, right? Just to really talk to somebody and be present, and not just be like, look at you and then turn away, right? Because that actually will damage something. If you're so like focused with so much different things and eating and trying to talk and do all, then it's really difficult. So personally, what I would do is I would eat before, and then at the event I would just grab a small plate just to kind of have something, right? But I wouldn't have like a full plate or anything like that, because
it's tiny.
Right. Plus, I'm a messy eater. I'm gonna make a mess on my clothes. that don't look good, and then I'm just wasting time and freaking out about wiping all the marinara sauce.
Same.
And so that's what I do now. But what I used to do was some sort of like intermittent fasting, or eating super low carb, or doing a super hard workout before the event, and then just go into the event and eat. But what would happen is, because I'm so hungry and so famished, I would just eat. And I wouldn't talk. And then what happens when you eat, you're stuffed, you crash. I don't want to talk to anybody anymore. Right? So I would say if it's for you, Dodie, and you're just going somewhere, I don't think it's anything crazy if you just worked out maybe the day of, or you ate a little bit healthier in the morning, at lunch, and then at dinner you kind of enjoyed yourself. I don't think that would do much damage anyway. But it just depends what your goal is for that thing too. I'm always thinking about what's my goal for this wedding. Is it to enjoy good food and do this, or is it more to like connect with friends and do this? And so I kind of weigh both, right? Because I'm gonna get hungry regardless. So I might not have a full plate of food like everybody else, but guess who gets to communicate and talk if you have a table of 10 and everyone's stuffing their face with a full plate? Who's talking?
No
Building
one.
relationships.
There's no way. If
The
you're just
person,
stuffing.
exactly.
Hell
And if
no.
you're the person without massive food, you get to talk and ask questions, and you can be interested in other people.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
And I think I had this last question. It's like kind of gripping on me. A while back, I heard that you started this whole Yanagida fitness thing, and I know the personal reasons, the motivation for why I started, many personal reasons. I don't want to get into that right now. And you stated before in a previous podcast that you basically started from rock bottom when it came to this warehouse. You had less than $100, and you were, you dropped out of college already. So like, how would you, start? How would you start a warehouse business with less than 100?
Yeah, this is a good question. And so how I started this whole warehouse thing, it stems back from 8 years ago. So when I had $59 in my account, and at the time we still had Sports Authority and all that stuff here in Maui. I went over and I bought a kettlebell and I bought a speed ladders. I think the speed ladder might have been off of Craigslist for somebody for like $20.
Wow.
And then I had bought a kettlebell for like $35. And I was stoked. I got my kettlebell and I got my speed ladders because I was able to be resourceful. It's not about resources so much, right? Resources are great.
Yeah.
How many great workouts can you do if you just have your body weight? You can do a great workout just with body weight. Now you add more resources. You add a dumbbell, awesome. You add a kettlebell, even more, better. And you add a pull-up bar. You add a resistance band, TRX, med ball, incredible. And so how I started from that point was at that $59. Now I'm super broke, right? I just bought my kettlebell and I bought a speed ladder. And I just started volunteering workouts, because if I didn't volunteer my workouts, nobody was going to come, right? Because who am I? I'm a 21-year-old with minimal experience besides just training my friends, right? So be ready for a lot of rejections. Be ready for a lot of no's. You're not good enough. Who do you think you are? What do you think you're doing? Just a whole bunch of stuff that people will tell you, especially in that first phase, and try to make you quit, right? Because they don't think it's possible for them, or they're envious of your commitment and trying. Just don't give up, okay? Because I almost gave up a bunch of times. I hit rock bottom. If it wasn't for my fiance, soon-to-be wife, if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't have got through. So anyway, going through that whole process, volunteering. I want to just keep it practical. So volunteer my time as much as possible. I didn't earn $1 from personal training or group fitness for the first 18 months to 2 years. So from 2013 to about 2015, 100% just volunteer.
Free.
And I might have left a tip jar, right? But it wasn't mandatory that people tip $5 or whatever. But when I saw that people would tip $5, that's what they call proof of concept. I didn't know what that meant. Proof of concept. Oh, what I'm doing is kind of valuable. Somebody will give me $5 or $10 for this 1 hour session. Okay, cool. So my workout is worth about $10 workout. Got it. And so because we still don't have anything, right, I was just working out of my trunk, not even my own car. I had to borrow my mom's car, I had to borrow other people's car, get rides from people, walk to people, bike to places, and do that just over and over. And on a good day, I only had it once a week on Saturdays. I might make $15, $20, and I was stoked every Saturday. And what did I do? Reinvest. So basically, after a month, I might have had in donations about like $50 to $60, right? In the beginning, I was stoked. I got $50 to $60 for doing something I love. And I believe at the same time, I was working part-time at these other jobs as well too. But then I had gotten fired. I couldn't hold a job. I kept getting fired and all this stuff. And slowly I could buy a second kettlebell. I could buy another speed ladder. And before you know it, I had maybe $300 worth of equipment. I had maybe 4 kettlebells, 2 speed ladders, maybe 2 medicine balls. But a lot of it was actually given to me for free just because, they're like, hey, I have some equipment at home. Can we incorporate this in our Saturday workouts? So that was that. And then I also got an opportunity to train at Kamehameha School on Maui. I was a strength and conditioning coach, and that gave me a bunch of experience. So I was really fortunate for that. And at the same time, in 2015, I started putting myself out there some more. I was like, you know what? People are going to just say anything anyway, right? I was tired of just being called names already. And after you be called different things, people slander you in person, behind your back, on social media, to your parents, to your family, whatever. You just kind of start developing a thick skin where it's like, I don't care. If someone just talks crap about me, I don't care, right? And so if it wasn't for that, I don't think I would have kept going. Because the more I started pushing forward and say, hey guys, come work out with us. We're going to do a free workout on Saturday. I would start promoting that. More people would be like, dude, who do you think you are, bro? You're only like 22 or 23. You don't know what you're doing. I've been in the... And then there was like an arrogant mentality. I've been in the industry for 20 years or 10 years. You don't know what you're doing. And all this stuff. And bless them, right? Bless them. Anyway, keep going back on track. So the Kamehameha School gig, the high school gig, that really helped a bunch because I was able to gain experience and do that for a year. Now, as soon as that happened, I started getting questions from the parents of the athletes who were asking about what should I eat personally. Because I mentioned that, well, if the parents eat healthy, then the kids will eat healthy.
Yeah.
And so I started recommending them, okay, obviously, no more plate lunches. Especially now. They're going to compete for the MIL championships or whatever state championships. I said, okay, if you don't eat plate lunches, your kids won't want plate lunch. So here's the kind of stuff that we should be eating. More vegetables, fruits, blah, 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 blah. The basics. Now, while I was doing that, I was also doing personal training where I would drive to my clients' places. So I would drive to clients in Kihei, in different places. Maybe up to about 15 miles out, right? 15, 20 miles max. And I would do that 3 to 4 days a week, just driving out the clients every other day. And sometimes it was every day, depending on the schedule of the clients. That started to help me get a little bit cushion under my feet. By doing that, I might have been able to, after all expenses, maybe live on like $600 a month, which was great. Especially at